We will have a couple of minutes Q&A after the teams introduce themselves and their idea. So each team will get about 3 minutes to introduce yourself and the idea that you're working on, plus 2 minutes Q&A if anybody has any. So, right. So we have Team Disha, and then I will let them introduce themselves and their idea. Yeah?
Hello. Very good morning. We are a team Disha. Disha is a name given for the team. My name is Shaju. His name is Dibu. First letters of our name made this team. It is stands for disability and handicap. DIS and HA. We are basically in the field of prosthetics and orthotics. We are working with the persons with the disabilities for last 20 years, and we just prototyped and done one product that we presented in a national conference and got acceptance. So we submitted the paper here. Also, we are trying to do some difference in the field of differently able. We are working in government sector. I am Shaju V. Cherian. I am working in Government Medical College Trivandrum in government sector. So many limitations and no support from higher authorities. While we are doing these things, we request your support throughout the program. Okay, thank you.
I am Dibu, working Government Medical College Kottayam from Kochi. I am working in prosthetic and orthotics. We are introduce new idea, EATER device, to enable to person with a disability and locomotor disabilities.
In day-to-day life and our career, some of the people are not able to do some works, and in daily living activities for eating, it is very difficult for some people. We had seen one person, his elbow, wrist, and shoulder are not movable, both of the hands. But he has some movements related to his scapular movements, some winging of scapular movements. And when we saw that person, he was eating like an animal. This very pathetic condition. While talking these things, I am very nervous. So we planned, is there any device to purchase and give to him? But we had got an information from Neater Eater from UK that cost around 1,29,000 for their minimum standard product. But for that product, they require elbow flexion and wrist movements. For cerebral palsy people, they can use this for eating. But in this particular kind of person, it is not possible. So we think about that, how we can make. We both are working in different medical colleges. We think together and made one solution and made a mechanical device that cost around 2,000 rupees. That is the difference between these two products, and he can use his legs for the operations, extending the liver.
Upper extremities.
For some of the persons who have the upper extremity problem, and they can use with the limbs also, lower limbs also. That is our idea.
Also, this device including brushing.
Brushing for brushing
Attachment to brush.
By attaching brushes they can use. And one idea we already formulated but not in practical now. It is for the armless children, how to write with the legs in the tabletop, sitting freely like a normal person, and to use the legs by holding this device and write in the tabletop. There is another idea we are working now, but this not in a prototype, just an idea. So we came here in this platform to discuss with others and to do something in this field. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So you can just be here. Just get that. Yeah. You ready?
Hi everyone, this is Pastik from R2D2 lab of IIT Madras, and I represent Team Asim. So there are two of us. One of my friend is currently not here. I mean, he's at some other location. So we work primarily for making functional and affordable devices. So we have this lab, and for a recent project, we have been traveling across different parts of the country, primarily in rural locations. And what we found that people are not very happy with their mobility devices. So when we talk about a good quality of life, there are various definitions of it, but what we primarily understood, there are three aspects which are very important. So one is your community engagement, how you go out, interact with people and your peers outside. Other thing is employment. Do you have any source of economic activity? And third thing is activities of daily living. Are you able to groom yourself and take care of yourself? And mobility lies at the center of all three activities. And you cannot perform any one of them very well if you don't really have mobility. And this mobility lies in two different spaces. One is outdoor mobility, that is outside your home, and one is indoor mobility. So currently what exists, there are two different products for meeting these two different requirements. So there are tricycles which are good outdoor mobility solutions, and there are regular wheelchairs, four-wheel wheelchairs, which are good indoor mobility solutions. So there is no one product which can meet both these requirements. People have to buy and maintain two different products, which becomes very difficult at times. And each one of them also comes with their own limitations. When we talk about indoor mobility devices, they're very wide, and people cannot access very narrow spaces. If you must have seen our doors, toilets, the doors are very, very narrow, and a regular wheelchair just cannot go inside. We have met people who said, just by reducing the width of the wheelchair by 2 to 3 inches, they could access many places. So basically what we are trying to do is to make a very, very compact wheelchair for indoor mobility and have an attachment which comes for providing outdoor mobility. So basically we're trying to address these aspects. So that's it, outdoor mobility solution, indoor mobility solution in one device which is portable. That's our idea. Any questions?
Yeah, if you guys have questions, I will pass on the mic to you. So if you can just raise your hand, that would be great. Questions, comments, anything?
Yeah, thanks. You already developed that prototype, or you're gonna develop in 60 days?
The idea is we have only the concept right now. We are going to develop it in the 60 days. So right now, what we have with us is just the concept which we framed for the event.
That's just I wanted to know.
Thank you.
Any ballpark cost figures for the retrofit attachment?
So the retrofit attachment probably, so we are estimating the overall cost of these two devices below 10,000 is what we have kept a target for us. And the retrofit attachment, the way we are devising it, it can be fitted with any existing wheelchair. So not just our product, the compact indoor mobility device, people already may have so many four-wheel wheelchairs. So why not make a device which can go and fit into all these wheelchairs, existing wheelchairs, and they can take it and go outdoors. So that's the idea.
I think we have Disha trying to show us a photo that they want to. Are you guys ready? Naga? Ready? Photo? Just a minute. And I would request all participants to kind of stand here and talk, because it's more central for both sections to see. And unless they have a presentation going, they can stand a little bit ahead so that they can also watch their own presentation. Okay.
Lever operating with the legs. That is our idea. It is simple looking. We can replicate with bamboos also. It will be very cheaper for rural setup.
So if there are a quick couple of questions, we could take that. Anybody? Any questions? No questions? All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Okay.
So next up we have Team Dost. Can we have anybody from Team Dost?
Opportunity. I'm here to represent our team, the device name called DOST, and I'm Jayvel. I'm working as a technical superintendent in IIT Madras, a Center for Rehabilitation Engineering and Assistive Technology, and here Mr. Kodan Raman. I'm worked in Create. Yeah. So I'm working with the Create Center for designing affordable devices for physically disabled. We have developed few of the devices, and a few of them got prototype, and few of them got product also. And there are incubation companies that tie up with us and making into products. So Center for Rehabilitation Engineering is a multidisciplinary translational research and educational initiative in IIT Madras. Our aim is to design an indigenous development of a low-cost technologies that serves to address the needs of people with disabilities. The center is housed in Electrical Engineering Department, IIT Madras. And so now,
hello, I'm Kodan Raman, working in IIT Madras. See, my portion is mainly the motor. In electrical vehicle, mainly the motor is a very important one. In recent motors and all, they used only the permanent DC motor. Mainly, I'm considering that the efficiency of the motor is right now, the 80% of the efficiency only, it will have the electrical vehicle and all. Now I am mainly concentrating, I'm planning to improve my efficiency of the motor. I'm planning to incorporate in that permanent synchronous machine, I'm going to incorporate in that particular wheel so that the efficiency of the motor will be improved. Then that battery backup, that may be increased. That means life will be increased, then the user can be utilized in more hours. Like that, I'm concentrating on that, particularly on that only. So this is my idea, right? I'm in this team, so that concentrating in that fabrication of that. You will explain me.
Hello everyone, I am Shaktivel, basically from mechanical engineering. So I'm just concentrating the mechanical structure of our DOST. So okay, we just focusing about our device give a perfect suspension. Our terrains are not even terrains, as like a Europe, or our terrains always have some up and downs and more speed, even though if we have more fluctuation at our roads. So we just make it as detachable and attachable at the fraction of a second. Maybe only 2 joints, 2 nuts or 2 locks, we are able to attach and detach easily and make every traditional wheelchair into electric wheelchair. With as soon as compact and then rigid.
Great. So any questions to anyone? I think if you have a couple of questions.
My question is different. Is it assembly tool-less, tool-free assembly, or how is it?
It's tool-free, tool-free. Only, okay, these two have some lock mechanism. So once you are there, and then this device is separately. So we just want to make, here we have 2 hinges or like lock mechanism. You just make it into, pull it into your side, and then make lock into your wheelchair, then it will be.
Just a quick question. Which part of the wheelchair are you going to attach it? To the armrest or?
No, here at the middle of, because we need to centralize the center of mass. Okay. Every vehicle have some center of mass.
To the armrest?
Yes.
So that means the armrest has to be fixed or detachable?
Detachable.
So don't you think it would be, I don't know.
I think I want another image. Yeah, okay. This is our model. So this is independent, wheelchair is independent. These blue color joints, these are attached and detached to the wheelchair at any time. Whenever you need, you just attach this device into your wheelchair and make it electrical powered wheelchair. So the cost also very less. So if we go with the electrical wheelchair, means around 1.3 lakhs. So it is lesser cost, and then we are able to offer anyone. Okay, someone is welcome to visit APD. Though those people have any powered wheelchair, then APD can provide this device to these people and then make them to powered wheelchair and then make it around and then visit. They feel some comfort.
How the rear brake works?
Sorry?
Rear brakes work.
So
brake system of the back wheel.
Brake system have. We these we are just considering about the two ideas. One is with the disc brake. We have some cycle.
It is in the front side, front wheel
front,
only.
front wheel only.
How
front
it will control and how they will be
very simple. So
safe.
very simple. That is detached with the wheelchair. So this give the main force. Okay, if you are pulling into wheelchair means who is braking? You only giving braking to the stop the wheelchair. Okay, I am Mr.
No.
Mohan sir is there. So I just pulling Mr. Mohan sir from backward. So
That is in case of the normal wheelchair.
yes,
In the developed wheelchair, they have to use in the normal road.
yes,
If the in the you are telling that all terrain type it is developed
it is
like
possible to
possible. If the upside they are going upside, it is okay. If downward going, when they want to break it, then it will be accident.
Yeah, it depends upon that acceleration. If suppose acceleration comes down, then it's equivalent to the torque. If torque comes down, if acceleration is deaccelerating that one, then torque will be reduced. Then automatically
How
it's
the-
try to
how-
it's try to speed down your vehicle, right? So there is no need of providing brake system, right? You are getting or not?
It is in
So let me quickly kind of intervene and say that these are wonderful conversations, and then these are great things, and you can obviously have these kind of questions and
yeah, of
answers.
course.
All
We
we have a lot of
to
time.
answer.
Yes. So I would say that it's great. So we'll limit to a couple of questions, and then Mohan has a suggestion,
Yes,
just really quick.
If you make this in such a way that you can attach to the front, can be used as driven by the person who's sitting on the wheelchair, make it reversibly attached to the back, then a caregiver can use it for powered pushing, especially in villages.
by electrically, sir, pulling is require less energy than pushing.
I know if there are children, let us say, for example, they don't know how to operate this.
Yeah.
So the caregiver will want it. Secondly, there are quadriplegics
Okay.
that use wheelchairs.
Okay.
So I'm saying the same equipment can be adapted for both fitting in front and at the back. It can be used for both purposes.
Definitely, sir. Definitely.
That's great. I think there was one last question if Anil had any. Yeah.
Just in your idea, you have mentioned about only indoor mobility. So this one, just I wanted to ask that you are meant for outdoor mobility as well, because
Okay. What we thought about indoor means if IIT have a 600 acres. So IIT 600 acres as a indoor. If anyone, IIT is always welcome any ability people, disability peoples to work with IIT or studying purpose or research purpose. So these people from any poor from status, lower status or higher status. If normally in India they have traditional. In for IIT like of areas we have 600 acres. He is not able to. Okay, everyone feels I need to sightseeing the IIT because IIT have a lot of resources like natural thing. Then, but he is not able to because 600 acres he is not able to traditionally running up with hand. So we thought of the like IITs and then it may be some colleges. Any colleges now, engineering colleges have a vast area, only acres, not the square feet. So
what is your projected cost, battery life, and maximum speed?
yeah, maximum speed we as of now we just talking about 30 kilometer per hour. Yeah, cost, yeah, hub motor, it differ from the hub motor cost around 12,000 NEO. And the lithium ion batteries, so we are able to accommodate a lead acid battery too, but it is very bulgy and weighty. So only option is lithium ion. So it's around maybe 15,000, and the mechanical structure is the main thing. I think with compared to powered wheelchair, it is affordable with 30 to 40,000 is better than 1.3 lakhs. So battery life, it is a 12. Yeah, okay. It is a 36 volt 12 amps battery, lithium ion battery. So once charges take 6 hours and it will run 30 kilometers, 30 to 40 kilometers.
All right. I think we'll we have to be a bad guy sometimes and then have to keep time and then also give you instructions as to what to do. So one more instruction would be if you guys have presentations to make, if Manas is there, my colleague, he will pass a pen drive to you if you can queue it up, so it will help us be a little quicker. So And also another quick thing, Mohan was mentioning that Team Asim and Team Dost have similar ideas, and they are also coming from a similar institution. So it would be great for you guys to collaborate and then work together and then really.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I think it's still morning, but still, yeah. So we are from Enability, myself and Archana here. We are again from, partly from IIT Madras, and we have an incubated company called Enability Foundation, which is going to work on productizing, because a lot of these institutes bring up with a lot of good ideas, and the minute the students or someone in the project leaves, it just dies. So we are a company which is going to take all these ideas and make sure it reaches the market, and it is manufactured and it is available for the masses. And what we have brought here is one such product. It was also developed inside the Create Lab from IIT Madras, which is called iGest. Basically, we're going to use this for gesture to communication. A simple wearable device which will recognize any gesture a particular individual can do who does not have a speech, or basically we have trained it for cerebral palsy. So any gestures can be done, it will talk to the mobile phone, wherein the mobile phone would recognize the gesture and connected sentence would come out from the mobile phone. So this is one application of it. And since this is recognizing any gesture, this can be used for occupational therapy, in terms of occupational therapy, any instruction given, this can have the feedback on it. We are also talking to people for using this for Paralympics, training on shot puts. So I think it has quite a varied application. The hardware is on the process of getting ready. So we are going to deliver a more sleeker model, more socially acceptable sleeker model like a wristband. That is one. And then applications like gesture to communication, occupational therapy, and a Paralympic trainer. So which will all talk to your mobile phone and have it working altogether. So yeah. Any questions?
Yes. Any questions? I'm right here.
The need for tracking gestures and the need for tracking hand movements for Paralympic practice is fairly different in terms of at least the amount of data you have to collect and the frequency at which you have to collect. Are you using the same sensors for all of them, accelerometers and gyroscopes?
Yes, we are using a 9-point sensor. So basically it's an accelerometer, gyroscope, a magnetometer. The watch, the wearable device, just sends out raw data. And why we are opening it for many applications is all the processing is going to happen in your mobile phone.
Yeah, got it.
So the algorithm will be different for each processes. So in terms of we can widen. So if you're setting the algorithm in the variables, then you're limited with application. Once
understood. I just trying to understand what's on the device itself. How much does it cost?
We are pricing at 3,000 the device without the mobile phone.
Okay.
And we're trying to get it
hooks on Bluetooth or Wi-Fi?
Pardon?
Hooks on Bluetooth or Wi-Fi?
It's Bluetooth. It's BLE3. It works currently with BLE3 and BLE4.
Okay.
So, yes.
Right.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anybody else? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Abit. Can we have Abit on stage? Or does Abit need a little more time? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so next up, do we have Global Hands? Somebody from Global Hands? Yep, there we go.
I'm Sridhar. And Smita.
Hi, I'm Smita.
I'm Shrikant. Yeah, we're part of a collaborative team from craft, technology, analytics, and pretty much user mobility. What we're trying to do is, in the last 10 years or so, we've been working with craft people, artisans, where we do block printing. What we do is that block printing is an age-old tradition of India, and the easiest art, we can call it, once you etch the blocks. So typically a block is taken, it is dipped into color and printed on a fabric. So this is the three small, it's a workflow which is very short, very easy to do. In the past 5 years or so, we've been working with a hospital in Hubli, where we're trying to give sustainable livelihood for people afflicted with leprosy, polio, burns. So the idea here is that the degree of difficulty that we've been saying is that we could only add a few people to this livelihood. We couldn't add people with more severe disability on their hands to actually use these blocks, because the fundamental thing is the grip of the block is difficult to do. Second is the precision in which the block has to be placed on the fabric has to be absolutely perfect, because if there's even 1 millimeter difference, then the whole fabric is rejected, because you see the designs being into different areas. Third is able to put the right amount of pressure for the color to print on the fabric. So that means now a person with that kind of disability on the hands is using his shoulder to press on the fabric. So what happens is that there's an issue here in terms of the usage of both the muscle joint, but the shoulder joint, and as well as the muscles of the hand. So the idea that we have come up is that we're trying to use, we have a couple of ideas now, but we've focused on one idea where we're trying to see if we can scale this idea up, where we're going to electromagnify the table. So typically this is the table that you would see. It's about 9 feet by about 3 feet if you look at it. These are the kind of typical tables that are used in block printing. So the fabric which comes from handmade in our areas in Assam is spread across the table, and then there's a color container here, and the blocks are ready-made. The blocks are taken, put it, and then pressed on the table, and then it is sequentially, it goes on to do that. So there's a movement of the person, as well as a movement of the shoulder, movement of the hand. And in case there is a precision, if it's not there, then there's a problem of actually seeing it in terms of losing the thing. So we have an export market for this. As Antscraft, that's the company that we represent, we've been buying out the products that come out from these livelihood applications and been selling it to the US and all. And the whole problem now is that the amount of time taken in a short fuse projects is double. So typically, we also have a leakage in the kind of livelihood that we could give. That means in kind of stress situations, we would possibly have to use other people to actually get it done. So what we're trying to do now is there a possibility for us to partly automate it, but not leave the person out of the business? So we're trying to electromagnetize the table with a process controller, which actually will energize and de-energize the matrix on each of them. So what you would see is the table will have many matrix structures of the block size. And what would happen is that as it is programmed, the block is programmed, there are magnets attached to the block, small tiny magnets, and then each of the area would be actually be energized as the block comes near to that, and then enough pressure is put onto the fabric. So we try and see that the precision is taken care of, the color pressure is taken care of, only the grip is what we're looking at. So that's one area that we're talking about as smart glove and all as a future thing. But at this point of time, as long as we can quickly look at a situation where we have the fabric being correctly, precisely aligned, the blocks being aligned on the fabric, color being correctly printed, our losses in losses in quality will be contained, and and that would actually give more livelihood to the person who's doing it. So I'd like to, Smita is our chief designer, and she would like to speak more about a bit of this.
The presentation is up if you want to use that to kind of showcase what you want to do.
I'm sorry. Essentially more of a marketing spiel that I don't want to, but essentially India is an area where this is a craft that is very innate to us. It is not very fine. It's not like embroidery where you need very sharp skills. It's more of a craft where you need physical skills. So if you look at it, there is this hand which you can see here, which is essentially kind of hand which is affected by leprosy. And this is the block that you see. This is a hard block, which you see it's a very hard grip. And this is an age-old block. It comes from traditions. So typically we really can't really try and see what we can do with the grip of the block here. But typically what happens is this comes from word of mouth, family to family, and that's how it has always been. And so the grip happens, and put it into a color container, and then do it. So these are the three problem statements we have: gripping the block, aligning the block onto the fabric with precision. Third is applying the right pressure. So these three things actually is what we're trying to solve. Out of that, two we think we can solve at this point. The grip is the one that we're looking for help in the team now. So essentially what we're seeking is that at this point, we're looking at one area, which is leprosy, and that's where we really want to have more livelihoods there. But we're looking at current capacity that we're seeing is that on about 20 of them, give about 6 meters, we're looking to see if we can expand it to about 10 meters of cloth fabric comes out. So that means we increase the precision of the production itself. So the ideation is that we're looking at smart gloves and so on and so forth, but that's something in the next stage. But at this point, we're very, very focused on that. Next slide, please. Sorry, next slide, please. Yeah. So this is the just essentially talking about what we're looking at. We're trying to put, this is the traditional block if it is visible. So we're trying to see if we can put a holder on top of it, which could have a magnetic, small magnets attached, and easy, cheap to do it as well, which hinges on the block itself. And there's an electromagnetic spectrum on the table that we want to do. And there's a very normal standard table which is easily available. Next slide, please. And so the biggest concern for us is that fact that these tables are going to be put at rural areas. These are livelihoods typically done in areas of remote Rajasthan, Gujarat, the northeast, including Karnataka as well as Andhra Pradesh. Some of these you would know, Kalamkari and all that. And just one slide back, please. One slide back, please. So the idea is that we need to quickly do some kind of, try and see how we can predict the breakdown of a table on this kind of product. Typically what happens is, if the grip is not held properly, the block would fall down. What do we do after that? How do we know remotely that, look, this is not functioning? And there's no way that we could want to go and intervene into them and say, look, as such, it's difficult for us to explain and help them to do it. On top of it, when it doesn't work, then we lose production as well. So we just want to make sure that we predict the breakdown of the whole thing right up front. So we're looking at a HANA solution as one of the things. We're trying to do some analytics around putting some kind of a sensors on the table itself to figure out whether something is happening or not happening. So that's something that is, the whole workflow is being worked out on that. And the other thing is how to program the table itself. So what we're looking at is a voice over Android application, which can, where the artisan can talk to the application and say, look, can you program a 10 by 10 block for a table which is 9 feet? So something which is very, very simple, which is understood by the artisan, and he would be able to speak it, and that should be able to communicate to the table itself, and then be able to create the matrix on the table structure itself. So that's the way we want to do that. And so these are the 4 components of the whole solution. And yeah, please, next slide, please. Next slide, please. And where we're trying to bring in the innovation is in the area of configuring the table, not so much on the block itself. We don't want to touch the tradition. It's mostly on the table, which is a physical thing that can be put on and then worked on. Next slide, please. So we looked at some opportunities here. So we looked at some electromagnetic chucks that they call it, to actually use to drive nails onto steel, steel plates. So that's one solution that we're looking at, and these are fairly cheaply available in that sense. It's easily fabricated in India. So we're looking at one of the solutions could be that, where we build an electromagnetic check, which is generally used for driving nails, and then calibrate it on the pressure side, and then see if it can work. Yeah, next slide, please. So there's a printing table assistant, and again, that talks with more of a voice-driven assistant. Next slide, please. So we want to pilot this post the prototype is built with our collaborators at the Hubli Hospital. And what we're trying to do is that they're already into this sustainable initiative for them, and we want to then help them to see if we can pilot it there. Once we pilot it there, then we can actually start scaling it. So The whole idea of deploying this is that we want to take this solution to more NGOs across the country and help them build a livelihood platform within that. So all we need is maybe 100 square feet of area, some water, because we need to for the color, for the container, and we should put the table around that, and then we can get all of these people to train and then use the table and blocks together. So downline thinking is that if you can miniaturize this and make it into a 2-block thing, we can actually take this piece and scale it as a sewing machine, for example, and that again goes into the government livelihood thing. So we could actually deploy many of these kind of small block printing, kits to many of the artisans who cannot come to an NGO, who have mobility problems, can't come to NGO. So we could actually run it as a more of an extension work, where our own person will go, give the machine, see if it is working, get it block printed. So typically, if you also see cushion covers and napkins and all, which are single blocks, can be actually done. So that's an extremely scalable idea down the line. But at this point, as we prototype it and try it, we try and get more organizational support, where we want NGOs to come help us out, build and prototype it and help us out to smoothen the whole process. Maybe down the line, we could actually miniaturize it and take it up. So we ran some calculations, and we were looking at about 2 lakh rupees is the table cost that would come up to. But I think with more thought and about how the bill of materials will come out, we could actually bring it down. So that's not a big sum in terms of saying that one table could actually give to about 4 to 5 artisans at one thing. And so we have 3 tables, and we are talking about 20 people working on that. Yeah. Next slide, please.
I think can we quickly
yeah, I think we're done.
Wind up? Yeah.
Yeah, we're done. So that's the, yeah. Please go ahead. Yeah. So the next step is the smart glove for the grip. That's the one that is there on our minds. But that's it. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I didn't allow Shrikant and Smita to. I just got carried away. I'm extremely.
So can we have a quick question? Probably quick one question. Anybody? Burning question? No? All right. Perfect. You guys can take it offline. Oh, all right. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Abhit, and we have a team that's from London, Bionic Without Borders, and they are not present here. However, I'll talk through it, what it's actually about. It's about upper limb prosthesis. You all have heard about it. Basically, it's an upper limb amputee, the people who are suffering from, who are disabled and who don't have the upper limb. Basically, in that upper limb, we are talking about the transdial portion. To be very clear, the transdial portion is the below elbow portions. So we'll be working on that. We'll be trying to create a myoelectric prosthesis, 3D printed prosthesis. So to understand that the portion is like in India, approximately 23,500 people, upper limb amputee people, add to the existing total which we are talking about. So the thing is that they are not in a position to afford that. It's very expensive. If you recently talk about it, the cost of the upper limb prosthesis is ranging from $38,000 to more than that. So we are trying to reduce the cost and make it more cost efficient. And in order to help all those people, in order to help the people who are suffering from disability and making it more cost efficient, so we'll be working on the biomechanics and obviously we'll be working on Arduino. So in the biomechanics, we'll be understanding the full flexibility of the human hand, the maximum limit that the original hand can reach, like the extension, the flexion. Like if you understand our own elbow has 2 degrees of freedoms, which we talk about it. The movement, the degree of freedom is the actual movement where it moves, and similarly, if we talk about the wrist have the 4 degree of freedom. That if you understand it, you can understand it practically by rotating your own wrist. That how much wrist how much wrist you can rotate, or how much elbow you can rotate. So we'll be working on that. In actual, I don't have a presentation right now or any photos. So I was told I can talk about it. So I was talking about it. If you go home and look about the ILM technology, the ILM technology is similar. Like if you rotate your the existing portion of your hand to a left side, the finger will move according to that. So we'll be working on that. It's a quite interesting project, which I'm not able to elaborate right now, since I don't have any photos. But when the projects arrive and when the execution is done, I hope that would be a very great thing. Thank you. Pinch marks, we are trying to reduce to as low to 12,000 to 13,000. Thank you. Yes.
Rupees, yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Let me take the opportunity to thank you and appreciate to invite all of us and making this possible, like such a platform to all together. So my idea, as I work in the hospital setup, so we have a patient from acute to chronic cases, but they remain with a disability due to spinal cord injury or any other neuro conditions. So they have some hand limitations which they have to deal with for a whole life. To performing their daily activity during the day or maybe working hours or for their dealing with the environmental situations, so I come up with the idea that why don't we make some sort of a kit which has the devices, combination of devices for different activities, and then some of the devices can perform most of the activities. So we have an ADL kit, I call it My Ability Kit. So among that kit, if you have hand limitations, especially below the elbow, and then you can utilize those devices to wear on, and then you can do maybe mainly the typing using the mobile phones, touching the screen of a mobile, even using the touchpad of the laptop, or your operating keys, and then writing. You can brush, you can feed yourself. So those are the activities could be performed through the one splint, and then the other ones are to drinking a tea or coffee or water or milk or cold or hot, both things, you need to hold the glass or somebody else has to feed you. So within that kit, there's one of the glass or mug or cup holder. You can hold it to your hand and you can just drink it yourself. So the same cup holder could be utilized to any sort of hand for in such cases. So in terms of the products available in the market, already such assisted devices, especially to doing ADL activities like feeding, brushing, typing, those are already available. But individual devices does the one task only. So you have to have number of devices doing different other tasks, and those devices are not easily available. You have to really make it. So what we are doing at our center, we are really fabricating all these devices according to individuals' need and then their hand conditions. So what I come up with this idea doing, helping these people out, why don't we have some sort of universal kit which has all the devices in a one combination box, and also those devices could be adjusted according to individual's hand position, so you don't need to really customize for each and every individual. So that device could be adjusted to any hand, any size, any movement. So that idea I have. I don't have the picture right now, but I'll show you, once I get the picture. So, but this is very unique idea and it's very needful because so many people with spinal cord injury, muscular dystrophy, multiple sclerosis, CP in some cases, and other hemiplegia cases, so many people with the hand limitations movement, they cannot perform their own activities, simple activity like writing, typing, feeding, brushing, using computer, mobile phone. So idea was to, if they can use their hand and can point or can type or press, then I don't think they need any high-tech devices. So this whole My Ability Kit called MAC does have the concept of very low-tech and low-cost solutions. So it's not high-tech, there's no mechanical, there's no electrical, there's simple plastic materials or out of aluminum, out of straps, velcros. You can just simply make it, but it's very creative in a way that the one person just buy a kit like a first aid kit. So quadriplegics or any person with a similar condition could be given this kit, having all the things with them, and then it could be simply prescribed. And you don't need to really customize it, as I said, because the kit would have adjustability within themselves. So the volume of it, like people who required across the country or other part of the world, most of the people who are having hand problems, especially, for example, spinal cord injury. These quadriplegics, they really depend on someone else to feed, to write, to type, to even do certain activities. So this ability kit called MAC, My Ability Kit, will help them out to lead independent life and be sort of independent in the community, interact with their educational, working, vocational aspect, rather having high-tech solutions which are touch and sensor and all those computer software, voice operating software, you don't really require it, because once you can use your hand, so once the feeling is that I'm using my own hand, and you would not even feel, we will design that device in a way with the help of your inputs that the device would not look like that it's a robotic hand or you're having something. It's look like a very normal hand, or you just using your hand without even having this hand, the wrist and movement control. So this is very unique in a way. Some people might feel that these things are already available, but not really. If you talk about in terms of prescription and delivering to end user, for some professionals, they might feel that these are available, but when it comes to the service delivery to end user, problem solving is not actually, because you cannot find such things in normal market. Nobody, the professionals are not really fabricating, and these are so customized products in present scenario, so one would not have a opportunity to go to the specialized center and get the service, and then you would not have the specialized professionals, those who really customize and fabricate such things. So My Ability Kit, the Mac would help such individuals. You can buy that kit online, order online, or you buy from a maybe medical shop or hospitals or healthcare. So this could be made available easily within the real local areas, and very simple solutions, low cost and low tech, and then the cost would not be, I think, more than 1,500 rupees or 1,000 rupees, having everything in a one box. And this would solve all your problems. So the cost is not that high. The volume is there, people are there, because every year there are 30,000 people getting spinal cord injury in India, and out of them, I think 40 or 50% people are quadriplegics. They remain with their limitations and not interacting with the society, interacting with the new gadgets available, and even they cannot operate a keyboard, mouse, operating TV, switching on phone, these and appliances in the house. So this would help the individuals to even do all these things independently. Yep.
Great. Quick couple of questions. Okay. We'll come from there.
Nikam, I think I am in touch with many quadriplegics, and I think the kind of points that you're making is just a repackaging of putting everything that is used in conventional quality occupational therapy inside a bag. And I don't think this kind of a kit can be made adjustable to in a way that every quadriplegic can buy and sort of modify. And as far as I'm concerned, even more than occupational therapists, even more than assistive devices experts like you, it is the quadriplegics themselves who have come up with the best solutions. I know several people, I can give you several examples of people who have done these solutions at way less cost. These are very individual-centric products if you're talking about spinal cord injury. I think you're just trying to package something that already exists in a so-called My Ability Kit bag. Okay, I don't think there's anything unique about what you're saying. I don't think I can go and, if I'm a quadriplegic, I can go to a shop and buy this and customize it for myself. I think this customization has to come from my experience of activity, doing it maybe myself, or maybe having a quality occupational therapist do it for myself. I don't think there's anything unique about what you're saying, except the so-called adjustability factor and putting it inside one bag.
So I think based on that input, if I can quickly add that, these are great inputs. If you can also meet with them personally later, bounce off all of these, and then take those contacts, and then make sure that you're also talking to all of these relevant players in the industry to make sure that
we'll refer you to some 25, 30 quadriplegics across the country who have made their own devices, their own low-cost equipment, and according to their environment and moved on in life. You're welcome to interact with them and do detailed spade work before you proceed with this. At the moment, you're just trying to put things that are available inside a bag.
Okay. Should I answer this or just?
You could answer.
Thanks, Vedi, actually putting out this point. But the whole point or idea behind it, to make it available in a center point, because these things are, of course, as I said in my presentation, things are available, but one should know where to go and find it.
I think all the things that you're saying that a person needs, you'll put inside this kit, won't be required for every quadriplegic. Every quadriplegic will need a few things in that so-called list that you're talking about. Why should I unnecessarily pay for things that I don't need?
No.
Why should I unnecessarily get things and then adjust, and if I don't know how to adjust properly? I think as a professional in spinal injury, you know that these adjustments are best done with the advice of spinal cord injured people. A quadriplegic already has several issues. And I don't think this kind of a kit can obviate the need for voice software. Voice software is something that is used by somebody who doesn't have complete hand and finger function. Okay, so to say that this kit will obviate the need for voice software is, I think, stretching it a little too far.
Yeah, good inputs. I'll take care of it. But at this point, your thoughts are well taken. But the thing is that it's not that I cannot do it or I should not do it because I already did. But I cannot see. Last 10 years I've been working in India. I do not find a single solution for such problems. And to answer your one point to why unnecessary, there would be checklist which equipment that would, of course, it will come after assessment. An occupational therapist will do the assessment.
You're saying I can go and buy it in a shop, right?
Yes, but make it available. I'm not saying that directly user go to and buy it, right? So, or as I said, of course, I could remove that idea, but it doesn't affect the usability, what do you call it? The impact that device going to made on the user. So that is different, an aspect that will be taken care of by the team of experts. They will suggest, or you might, I know you Vaidi for last 5 years, so you will suggest how to solve such thing. But I want to make it happen that this should be easily available to the professionals. I'm not saying to the end user right now. So, okay, yes, that could be corrected, right?
all fair points. So I will just intervene and say that this is an amazing conversation. That is why we created this platform, that these kind of conversations can come to life and then people can do relevant things. So I would say that please take it offline and please meet with them and then also talk to all of the guys that he might refer to and then use that input to, of course, enhance your product.
Sure.
And also talking about the business models that we are looking at, there's of course intervention from a lot of experts from our partners, and then please make use of that to make sure that you're taking care of all of these factors into account. Thank you very much, Nekram. Anil, one more question?
Yeah, just Nekram, you are very much specific about the person with quadriplegia. But just while designing this product, you want to consider the need of children with cerebral palsy as well, because these group of people that's got this kind of assistive devices.
So that's what we come up with when we explore the design. Of course, those who have hand problems, they cannot use their hand to do some activities. That could be, of course, explored during the design part when we'll be designing, taking expert inputs and your inputs. Of course, it's not limited to spinal cord injury only. As I said, this is limit to those people who has some problem by interacting hand and doing the normal task. So it could be cerebral palsy, it could be multiple sclerosis, it could be even some degree, at some degree, the hemiplegias who has some movement in the elbow. So this is a wide variety of people who can use that toolkit. And I'm not saying it's something very innovative, but it's some putting together, make it available to the professionals and to the user to make it possible what they're trying to do. Because right now they're really finding a hard time to find these things, where to get it, and who to get it, who will provide it, who will make it, how to make it. Of course, there's maybe 25 people made their own devices, but they have not spreaded that idea. I will talk to them, I'll get their idea and put in this kit and also reward them. This will be good. So this is communist. This platform is about that. It's not about me. It's not about a single individual. It's about all of us. So that's why I think Pawan meant it. And all these people, I really appreciate this platform. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. Yes. So it's good that we have 2 months, so we can input and do involve more and more people who are already doing it. So that's a good platform.
Thank you, Nekram. That's amazing. So I would just say that even I know that Nekram is looking for a teammate. So I would say that in case anybody wants to also mention that you're looking for teammates, or if you're looking for somebody specific, and if you can talk about that skill set that you're looking, or even if you don't want to talk about it, just send an email to info@enable-Mechathon, and then we'll try and hook you up with someone that has that specific skill set. So let me just invite Tarun to just kind of thank a couple of our partners that have joined, and then also thank a couple of people that have joined us later in the program now.
We have here Rashi. Vishesh has been kind of involved in our process right from the start. In fact, they did the original needs assessment. And tomorrow, maybe you can introduce.
I'm Rashi. I'm representing my colleagues from. I'm Rashi. I'm representing my colleagues from Vishesh. We have been associated with the project from the beginning in documenting the challenges, and we would be talking about it tomorrow. And it's a pleasure to be here, and we are very, very excited about being a part of the entire program. And great ideas, and I'm sure they would culminate into excellent products for persons with disability. Thank you.
I'd also like to give the opportunity to Stephanie, perhaps from Intellicap, to talk a little bit about how they see this and what's going to go on ahead. The role, if that's okay.
Might know Intellicap. For those who don't, we have a large network of early stage investors, and maybe as we go along this journey, we will try to make connections with. Or to angel investors or potential foundations, high net worth individuals who potentially could guide in the whole process of making your idea an actual business, and maybe also raise some funding potentially. So that is the kind of contribution that we are making to this initiative. But beyond this, I think we also would like to contribute in just giving feedback to the ideas. We have a large pool of mentors as well, as we are guiding a lot of early stage ideas in their process to turn their ideas into actual viable business models. So I look forward to engage with a lot of you, but also link you to the team, because Intellicap has a large team. We are around 50 people that do that kind of work and guide innovators in their journey to turn ideas into great businesses. So I hope that we continue more conversations, and maybe also on a personal note, I myself have been the sister of a disabled brother, and I was born in East Germany. That was also not very developed, I would say, 30 years ago. And from this perspective, I'm personally also very passionate about this agenda, and so I hope we have more conversations today, tomorrow, and also over the next 2 months.
And in fact, enlivening the conversations that we're having here, because I think that there needs to be an interaction between people who are persons with disabilities and the ideas. And I think, although it might be a difficult process, it's a good process that we have to go. So I'd like, in a sense, to thank APD to make available people and trying to bring them into the hall here so that they can also be part of this conversation as we go ahead.
I would just say that, can we quickly have a couple of introductions? I mean, since there's a lot of good inputs coming in.
My name is Vaidyanathan. I'm a volunteer of the Spinal Foundation, which is a pan-India support group for persons with spinal cord injury.
Thank you. Can we have another couple people introduce? Can we just have a couple of them introduce? Yeah, perfect.
My name is Radha. I'm working in APD from 4 years. Thank you.
नमस्कार जी, मेरा नाम सुबोजित भट्टाचार्य है। मैं एपीडी का एक पार्ट हूँ। मैं पार्ट टाइम ग्राफिक्स डिज़ाइनर हूँ एपीडी का। मैं अगस्त से काम कर रहा हूँ। थैंक यू।
Hello everybody, it's Mansoor Ahmed. I'm one of the beneficiaries of APD. I was wheelchair user. With the help of therapy and mobility aids, I'm able to walk with CAPO. Currently, I'm associated with APD as a fundraiser, and it's been 4 years I'm associated. Thank you.
Daily work ಮಾಡ್ತಾ horticulture 9 years ಆಗಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ.
My name is Lakshman Reddy, horticulture trainer, practical trainer, so 8 years work experience.
I live in APD. Thank you.
His name is Muhammad Wasim. He has joined horticulture training for this new batch.
He is Damodar, spinal cord injury beneficiary.
I am Crystal Prabha, coming from Tamil Nadu. I am working in APD at 8 months.
My name is Raghavendra. I'm working in APD, Horticulture Training Center, Malaysia.
Hello, I'm Glory. I'm working as a teacher in SIS. It's a department of APD. It's a school.
I am a Sudha for APD, adult technician, 18 years service.
Thank you, thank you. 18 years of service, wonderful. Great. So I think let's move on with the next set of teams to kind of understand what they are up to.
Good afternoon, all. I am Ganesh Bapat. I am pursuing PhD in IIT Madras in R2D2 lab. I am working on design of orthotic knee joints and study of gait analysis for orthosis users. I would introduce my team members. My colleague Mohan in R2D2 lab. He recently finished his PhD. He is expert in mathematical modeling of walking and gait analysis. Soikat, he is assistant director at Mobility India, clinical orthotist by profession. One more colleague of mine, he could not come today. He is Muthu Vishweshwaran. He is associated with manufacturing of various prototypes related to the devices which we make in R2D2 lab at IIT Madras. So this is all about our team. Our team name is KAFO Design. So it actually tells what is our idea about. KAFO is used for people with lower limb disability. So it's knee ankle foot orthosis. So conventional knee ankle foot orthosis has a knee joint which is of single axis knee joint, and it remains locked during walking. So it provides the stability during walking to the user. But the problems associated with that are like they have to walk with circumduction, so which is more energy consuming, and that results in tiresome gait. Plus there is no flexion when they land their foot on the ground. So it results in more impact forces at hip and knee joint. So that may cause osteoarthritis and some other problems after the continuous use of KFO after some years. So what we have come up with knee joint which gives some amount of flexion when person lands on the ground. So what I'm talking about is conventional joint is locked in the knee, so they will circumduct and land on the ground. So in our joint, it will give some amount of flexion when they lock, when they are walking, when their foot lands on the ground. So this is controlled flexion, around 5 to 7 degree flexion, which we are looking at right now. Also, we have like in the current prototype, we have provided 3 modes of operation. So a user can have locked mode whenever he needs on uneven terrain or some other situation. There will be a semi-flexion mode which we have introduced, and free mode as in conventional joint for sitting. So these 3 modes of operations and stance phase flexion. Currently we have done some field trials in APD and CMC Vellore, which shows this idea has a scope, and it shows improvement in their metabolic energy consumption during walking. So it's also users have suggested some about flexion, it needs to be controlled. So that's what these are the challenges we are looking to solve under the Enable Mechathlon. About controlling this flexion with addition of spring and facilitating the operation of the joint with 3 modes such that the ease of operation will be there for users. So that's all about this thing. I have a joint prototype. I will show you this thing. So this is a single axis knee joint designed by Mobility India. So this is conventional lock knee joint which people use. This has perfectly locked mode. While person wants to sit, they will move this drop lock and they can sit. So this joint works this way. So what we have done is we have introduced 2 components in this joint. So this works as an add-on to conventional knee joint. So this is a flex lock which we call. It's divided into 2 parts. So you can fit to the existing users also. So that makes it affordable, so that person need not go for completely new KFO each time. So they can fit on their existing KFO if they want to use this thing. So this is add-on flex lock. So it provides flexion mode. You can see it's around 7 to 8 degree flexion right now. When person wants to sit, as in conventional joint, they have to lift the drop lock and they can sit. There is one more mode of operation which is operated by this cam element. So this is a flexion mode. When user wants to go to lock mode while walking on the uneven terrain, they can move this cam piece and this lock will slide downwards, and this is perfectly lock knee joint. So this is a just proof of concept to show how this modes of operation can be done. But we are looking forward to improve this ease of operation. That is one of the challenge for us.
Absolutely. So any quick questions? Yeah.
So good that Indian model come up, but I think there's a similar joint available Black & Decker with the Endolite provides for the 80 degree flexion thing. So how is it different than the already existing one? How is it different?
I think this is one point which we have definitely spoken and discussed. That is an imported version. We have to import it, you don't get it easily available, and it requires because I have personally done that fitting of that particular joint also, and it really requires lot amount of precision and highly good orthotic skill for aligning it. This we came up with a solution for our not only a solution not only for India but also for the developing world, where locomotor lower limb issues are predominant. And if it can be tested, tried and used, and if it can be introduced as alternative to an alternate solution to just conventional knee locked orthosis, I think that could be a very good option. That's what we are looking for. But of course it requires a lot of testing and trials.
And cost wise it would be lower than that, right?
And of course cost will be one significant difference. And as far as the material is concerned, we are trying to ensure that it remains as strong and sturdy as any material. We are going for all kind of IS testings and all requisites before it is really brought into the market.
Good.
So this joint can work as an add-on to any joint which is sold in India, like single axis knee joint. Right now I have designed it for Mobility India joint. Same I can fit on Alimco knee joint, single axis knee joint, or whatever joint they use in APD as well. So this can work for all existing users, and cost effectiveness is always there.
Yeah, I have a question. So these joints can be used in lower limb paralysis or a weakness. If this joint can also be used in laxity in the joints, because it has three modes of operations, control, flexion, and other things. Usually we see, in a PPRP, a polio patient, one leg will be affected, other sound leg will have a knee instability, either going back or a sideways or a backwards. Either these joints will help in those conditions. I'm just thinking, like whether the joints will suits for that.
Riaz, it will all depend upon your assessment. If now this is this joint does not comes with a prescription, this comes with features, and it is you who will have to decide whether your assessment and outcomes will suit these features or not. If it suits your features, you can definitely use it. But again, what we will suggest that it needs to be tried. It has to, lot of trials has to be done before establishing it. But from our, I think your experiences of using it in some locations, I have not yet fitted it, but you all have done some trials, so I understand that it is having a fairly good amount of feedback, but it needs to be tried a lot.
I will comment on that from feedback perspective. Like some of the users did not like flexion in their knee ankle foot orthosis. They felt like unstable while walking. So those who are experienced users, they need to be trained for using that joint, and it will take some time for them to get acquainted with the new type of knee joint. But the first time users did not have any problem with that. So that is one part is there, that along with this knee joint, proper training needs to be given.
Great, amazing questions and great answers, and of course that's why we are here, to help you, give you this platform of trial, and then you can also explore partners and then figure out how you want to take this forward. One last question, quick question. All good? All right, thank you guys.
I would like to thank you for giving us opportunity and looking forward to learn from all you guys and collaborate as well. Thank you.